Welcome to the afternoon. You're listening to the Lou Dennehy Chat Show on Wired 99.9 FM. To text in, please use 085 7172 999. That's 085 7172 999. You can also contact us on facebook.com, where you'll find us as Wired Limerick. You can follow us on Twitter at WiredFM, and you can also find us at our website, wiredfm.ie, where you can stream shows. I have a lovely Lette Maloney in studio with me today. Hi Lette.
Hi Lou, how are you?
I'm good. And today Lette is going to talk to us about fainting goats.
Yeah, fainting goats, not talking goats. My name is Lette Maloney, and I'm the founder of Irish Dysautonomia Awareness and the owner of Lette Maloney Media. And basically I'm just here today to raise awareness of Irish dysautonomia, which is kind of it's not Irish, but dysautonomia in general is kind of a new disease that I've come across. Basically I got very sick in April and I got diagnosed with it, and I'd never heard of it before, and because there was absolutely very little information on the internet, I decided to set up my own little kind of online blog thingy and just get awareness out there. So that's what it started, and our little mascot is the fainting goat, which is quite cute because we faint a lot and stuff. So
we had the joys of live student radio. We had our technician running up to the glass and knocking frantically, so I'm wondering if there's a problem with your microphone.
Okay.
So I'm just going to double check there whether you can actually be heard. If our technician would like to let us know that, it would be wonderful. And I don't spot him. Can Lette be heard? Yeah, she can. We need to move you to microphone 3. Okay, so the joys of student radio.
Awesome.
So if you wouldn't mind heading on over. Yeah. Sorry about this now, folks. Those gremlins, those technical gremlins, they really do like creeping in, and they creep in whenever and wherever they can. So I'm just going to, tootle along while we figure out, yes, okay. Goodness me. Right. Okay, we are going to go to a song at the moment. Bear with us. Oh God, I've gone for hard rock. And thank you to Pistola from Incubus for saving us from that. And once again, I introduce you to the lovely, very patient Lette Maloney, who is going to talk to us about dysautonomia and what in the world it is and how they managed to associate it with fainting goats.
Hi guys, I'm Lette Maloney. We'll start this again, I suppose. I'm the founder of Irish Dysautonomia Awareness and the owner of Lette Maloney Media. Basically back in April I got very, very ill, ended up in hospital for a couple of weeks and got diagnosed with a condition under the umbrella term called dysautonomia. And basically, long story short, what that means is it's a dysfunction of your autonomic nervous system, and it manifests itself under lots of different conditions known as, one of the funniest ones which I happen to have is called POTS, which is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. There's EDS, which is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. There's mast cell activation problems. There's a list that, like the length of your inside leg, that dysautonomia covers. And basically what POTS is, which is what I'd have myself, is when I stand up, my heart rate goes through the roof, my blood pressure drops, and my body can't adjust properly to gravity. So my blood pools in my legs, takes oxygen away from my heart and my brain, and I can pass out. And that's what the link to fainting goats is all about, because our mascot in Irish Dysautonomia Awareness is the fainting goat, which my poor long-suffering husband over there, Keith, showed me ages ago was a video on YouTube of a goat that it doesn't actually pass out, but if you frighten it, it stiffens up as a defense mechanism and hits the floor, and it's one of the funniest things you'll ever see, the poor things. And then ever since I got diagnosed, I've noticed that my friend Miriam and a couple of other people were like, oh yeah, have you ever seen these guys, fainting goats? So I've been associated with the fainting goat. So we affectionately call it the fainting goat syndrome, which is, it's a lot of fun. We might as well take the piss out of it back.
And it's a lot easier to pronounce than dysautonomia.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, that's just impossible. I would have to get something with a really hard name, you know. But yeah, so
not something that's easily pronounced when you just get oh, probably, you know, it's like, you know, I have this, and then it's the thing of the person receiving that information and say quite often is like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Kind of,
I know, I get this face like I've got about 10 heads. You have what? Is it contagious? No, it's not. POTS is easier to say. Like I said, dysautonomia is just the umbrella term. So POTS is what I have, and my father affectionately calls it bulls, which I find it hilarious. He just gets it confused. So it's called bowls in my house as well, which is going to be called cups. POTS is going to be called cups one of the days. But yeah, it's a strange one. I had never heard of it before, and when my doctor in hospital diagnosed me first, I had to get a second opinion. The first doctor didn't take me seriously and was just like, "Oh, get yourself up out of bed, you'll be fine," which is the worst advice that you can give somebody like me, because being up and about is what causes most of the problems. So I have to be very careful and take medication and watch myself and stuff like that. But the new professor that I was put under, he's brilliant. I won't mention any names or anything, but he really took it seriously. He did a whole load of tests, did everything, and diagnosed me with POTS and NCS, which is neurocardiological syncope, which is basically the fainting part of it. So yeah, lots of big long medical terms that I've had to learn. And when I went online then, typical Ireland, because it's actually a very rare condition, there's very little information. So I said I wanted to set up the blog and try and get an awareness out there, because I hadn't heard of it, and so many other people that I mentioned it to, like I said, gives you the whole 10 heads look, you know. So
I'm going to ask one of those basic questions. What's your autonomic system?
Okay, yeah, I should have explained that. My autonomic system is, well, your autonomic system, all of our autonomic systems it's the nervous system, which you don't have to think about. It regulates blood pressure, heart rate, respiratory system, digestive system, blinking of your eyes, kind of urinary tract stuff, all the things that you don't have to think about. That's the easiest way of explaining it. That's what your autonomic nervous system is. And when there's a dysfunction of that, everything could go out the window. Like with POTS, it's the whole blood pressure thing, the heart rate thing, your veins not constricting to gravity and holding the blood in the right place. So you get blood pooling in the most bizarre parts of your body, which makes you faint, and just stupid little things that you'd never have to think about, you know. So it's really hard to diagnose because of that as well.
And that must have been really frustrating when you know how you feel, and you know when you're trying to put words on it and explaining to somebody else how you're feeling. And I suppose you know, when you're not feeling well, and then you're searching for the words to describe to somebody else how you're feeling, and if they're pushing you off, and like you said, this guy told you to just, sure, get up out of bed, you know, and march on. And like, I know you're fairly busy and you're fairly proactive, and if there's something to do, chances are you'll get up and do it. So if you're in bed, there's a good reason for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the biggest support network now that I've found would be online, and I want to speak for those people as well. So hi folks who know me out there with dysautonomia. They say this as well, that we don't get taken seriously because you have such a mix of symptoms starting off. I mean, you're fainting, your blood pressure is all over the place, your heart rate is all over the place. And there are some doctors out there now, thankfully, it wasn't that the doctor didn't take me seriously at first, it's just he just gave me the wrong advice and didn't give me the proper tests to diagnose it properly. Whereas there's other people out there who have this and they're being told, oh, you've got an anxiety problem, you know, you're making your heart rate race, you're causing, like, nobody can control their heart rate or control their blood pressure at will. And that's the funniest thing that a doctor could turn around and tell you. And my advice is get a new doctor, basically. So when I knew there was something wrong with me. So I knew that, you know, I didn't feel right. I'd been sick for a long time. All the symptoms kind of came together at once back in April, but previously I have some instances of going, well, yeah, that could have been down to the POTS, or, you know, something got to do with that. But yeah, I mean, I definitely like that. It's just really hard to explain. It's hard to explain to people how it is you feel, because there's such a mix of symptoms. And thankfully I got diagnosed, and thankfully those other people who know what their symptoms are now have at least some sort of support network online, so that they can go to their doctors and go, look, it could be this, So it's not an easy one. It's very, very strange.
Okay, and I suppose how does it affect you, say, on a daily basis? When you're tackling one of your regular jam-packed days.
Right. Well, what I love is my jam-packed days consist of online stuff. So a lot of the time I look very busy, but I'm actually sitting in front of a computer doing things which I can handle. But I still get out from time to time. But my social life has really gone online more so than ever now since I had this. It comes and goes. I can have good days and bad days. With dysautonomia, you have to plan for the unexpected, if that can be planned for. But like, on a really bad day, I could get up in the morning, be really, really dizzy, try and make my way into the shower, and that's a really bad idea, because if I try and follow through with that, I'll more than likely pass out or get nauseated enough to be sick, or sometimes I can tremor like a 90-year-old woman. On really bad days, I am headachy, I have pains in my bones, my muscles. I'm not able to take my own weight standing up because I'll either faint or the blood pooling becomes too much and I get dizzy. So a lot of the time I have to lie on my back or lie down or rest a lot. So sleep has become my best friend, and the worst thing in the world is I find I need more sleep during the day to get me through stuff, and then I'm wide awake at night, which is the most frustrating part, especially for poor Keith, my husband. He's awake all night as well because of my twisting and turning. But then there's other days where I can get up and it feels normal. Like I'm always tired. That never goes away, and the nausea never really goes away. I'm on meds to try and control both those things. But I do find that I can have very good days where I'll get up, I'll just race through it, just do what needs to be done, get the tidying done, get the meetings out of the way. I mean, like I said, I set up a business 4 months after my diagnosis, a media business. I do videography, photography, graphic design, some stuff like that. And like that, the thing that I work for myself makes it flexible because I can take the rest when I need to, which really helps. If I was working a 9 to 5, it wouldn't work.
Okay, so yay for entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. Yeah. Not easy, but take each day as it comes. I think that's the only advice I could give to anybody who's in this situation and wants to work. Go for it. Why not? Like, cool. Do what you can.
And just to kind of give a heads up to the fact that it's Inclusion Awareness Week in LIT this week, and so there is going to be information during the rest of the week about dyspraxia and a variety of other things that aren't necessarily visible. And I suppose that's one thing about dysautonomia, that meeting yourself in the street, nobody's going to be any the wiser until maybe that period of time comes along where you need to sit down,
Yeah.
And I suppose as a kind of heads up for those listeners of ours who may have a friend with dysautonomia or may encounter somebody with dysautonomia, what are some of the kind of practical things that a person can do to be understanding or to lend a helping hand?
I suppose not every, like you said, looking at somebody, you're not going to automatically know that they're ill. It is what we call an invisible illness. Now the only thing that might give it away is you might have a very pale pallor. You might look tired, bags under your eyes, things like that. But I mean, if you're with somebody who has it, just understand that they need to rest more so than other people. So instead of standing up on a street corner, ask them if they want to go for coffee, take a seat somewhere. Another thing, just saying with coffee there, meeting people for lunch and stuff, they can only eat certain sort of things or nausea will take over and things. So you just kind of have to be aware that the tiredness is key. I mean, make sure that there's a place to sit, that you can take a rest, that you're not always up and walking around and going 90 miles an hour like lifestyle at the moment seems to be going, because we just can't. We have to take each day as it comes. Some days we can, and then more often than not we can't. We just have to be resting way more. So it's just a matter of being aware that those people need rest, I think, is the main thing. And need understanding that even though our symptoms are not very visible, they're there and we can definitely feel them, and that they take their toll in the long term,
Okay, and was it a learning curve for you to...
Oh, gotcha. Learning to stop and slow down was never my strong point. Again, thanks to my husband for kind of, putting the stop and the skids on when it needs to happen. Because I'm the type of person to go, I'm fine, and then 2 seconds later I wake up on the kitchen floor going, what happened? You have to learn to slow down, take each day as it comes, understand that you have to go at the pace of the illness, which is so hard to learn because it's so different on a day-to-day basis. I mean, you could be brilliant one day and then the next day you could be so down. And even though you're on regular meds to control it and everything like that, it doesn't keep it controlled at a steady pace. Like I started off, after coming out of hospital, I was really bad, then got really great for a few months. And that was awesome because I got busy again and I kept going, and then trying to learn to slow down again after hitting the bad spot was just, it's impossible. It's just so hard. So the learning curve is huge.
Yeah, because your brain is still ticking over. As
Oh,
far as
gosh.
it's concerned, you're fine and you're raring to go, and let's get on with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so, well, you brought in some of your favourite tunes, and I'm going to play one of them now, and I'm going to play Kelly Watch the Stars.
Okay.
Kelly Watch the Stars by Air, and you were listening to the Lou Dennehy chat show, and we are on Wired 99.9 FM, and you can text us on 085 7172999. That's 085 7172999. And I have Lette Maloney in studio with us today.
Howdy.
And you were saying earlier that you kind of have to watch out with what you eat.
Yeah. I've got a friend, Grania, who skits laughing at this, but potatoes make me faint. Which is hilarious because I absolutely adore potatoes in every shape and form, but I have to be very, very careful with my intake of them. Like, I mean, I will eat chips and I will eat potatoes, but I have to really reduce the intake. Where I'd have loads before, I can't do that anymore because if I have too many potatoes, I have a bad day. I have no idea why that is. I think heavy carbs kind of do bad things to your digestive system and stuff, and people with POTS and dysautonomia have a tendency to have a very slow digestive tract. So anything that's hard to digest, which I always thought potatoes would be fast enough to digest, but anything that causes your digestive system discomfort is going to be tough. I mean, I used to love fish. Fish now makes me very ill. I can't touch it. Even the smell of it is enough to put me off. Sweets, one of my only vices in the world. I love sweets and ice cream and all the things, all the wonderful things that are bad for you. I had to really take a step back of that recently because I got very ill just last week. We were supposed to do the interview last week and a disaster happened, but I won't go into it. But since then, I'm eating all soft foods and have to reduce my intake of calories and things like that, which, you know, I love my food. It's just so hard to do that. So, yeah, but you just have to retrain yourself and learn to look after your body a bit better. So
it's a learning curve for you and for the people around you.
Oh, yeah.
And you have a certain blue liquid that now features rather heavily in your life.
Oh, God, yeah. Gatorade and Powerade, which I don't drink anymore because I kind of got sick of seeing it regurgitated after drinking it, which smells divine. But we won't go down that road. But yeah, so I decided not to drink that anymore. But we are advised to drink things with electrolytes and, you know, high sugar content and things like that to try and keep yourself hydrated. Hydration is very much key with POTS.
Okay, and so what would your advice be for anybody who may be heading down the road to getting a diagnosis?
Wow, keep an eye on your symptoms, keep an eye on your blood pressure, record everything, because what I have a tendency to find out is if you don't have a history there, your doctors won't have anything to go on. And if you record everything and be adamant, I don't feel right, there's something wrong with me, these things are happening, I'm not supposed to be fainting. Main things to look out for is very low blood pressure, very high heart rate. This is with POTS anyway specifically. If you're fainting, I mean, that's not right. You're not supposed to be fainting anyway. And when you get up after, like a lot of people can get up quickly and have like a little blackout, that can happen. But if it goes too far and you actually fall over, that's not on. Okay. In order, again, if you're eating things that you've been eating all along and suddenly you're getting very, very ill, I mean, the thing is, it can come out of the blue. It hit me out of nowhere. I mean, like I said, I have had stuff in the past where it feels like it could have been down to the POTS, but more often than not, it just came out of the blue in April. And it's really hard to try and diagnose, but because there's so many different symptoms and things. But keep a chart of everything, keep it all together, and be adamant with your doctor that you want it investigated.
And what are the future prospects? I mean, is this one of these things that, you know, you will have for the rest of your days, or is it something that may ameliorate in time? It's
so mixed. I mean, so many people... just going back to the last question before I answer that, a tilt table test is key to get diagnosed with POTS, which is basically a table that they lie you on, hook you up with all your vital signs kind of on a monitor, and they'll slowly lift it up, and as you stand up they'll see your vital signs going haywire, and that's how they diagnose me and most people. But your question again,
Long-term prognosis.
Oh, long-term prognosis. That's another thing. Brain fog gets in the way. We can be pretty thick. I can't think straight. There's so many different ways. I mean, most people with POTS can get it either in their teenage years, after pregnancy, or later on in life. Now, I'm not a teenager. I haven't been pregnant yet, and I don't think I'm too late into life. I'm only 28, and it's just hit out of the blue. It's different for everybody. Long-term prognosis is there's a lot of research going on to it in America. Not so much here, but I'm very lucky with my doctors. They really seem to be up to date with research and know what to do with me, so I'm very lucky that way. Other than that, I don't know. I just use the internet to keep myself updated, and I speak with other people online from their first-hand experience. I find that is the key way to learn, and that's why I set up the blog, which, if I may plug it, is irishdysautonomia.wordpress.com. So yeah, if you Google it anyway, you'll find me on there. But yeah, just people with first-hand experience that talk to each other. Like the Dynet forums are very good. And people speak to each other there and ask each other questions. And I think we're kind of our own little social network and our own little helpers. So people can give each other advice and stuff, because there's so many different aspects to it.
And it's important to know that you're not alone when you're going through
Absolutely.
something like this.
Yeah.
I'd like to say thank you very much.
No problem.
We've hit the end of the show, and if you'd like to know more, you can do as Lette said. Google Dysautonomia, and it's Dysautonomia, and you can text us on 05717172999. And you can also find information on my blog, which you'll find on the Wired FM page on Wired Limerick on Facebook. And we're going to leave with another song.